Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. You are listening to a rebroadcast of a previously recorded show.
We're live at the Mind Book Fair, powered by Life Improvement Radio, Tollster.net for more information. Twitter, Tollster, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, LinkedIn, Neil Haley, Instagram, Tollster, Pinterest, Neil Haley, Google Plus, and all, Periscope at Tollster. And for my Life Improvement Radio audience fans, if you love the show, you've not been and never tuned in, 3 p.m. Eastern every day on Life Improvement Radio. You can listen to me or go to the podcast site. I don't just have authors interviews, I have celebrity interviews, and we have some very, very hot education debate, Eric, as well. As you listen to sometimes my one education show, those guys go after me, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They go for blood.
They don't like me. They don't like me calling out teachers or calling out specific people. They want everything to stay the same. And that's not my job as an advocate in education at all.
Not at all. Maybe you should antagonize them a little bit more.
No, I need to get somebody else on, too. When you're getting bombarded 2-1, it's a lot different. But the topic for our guest right now is so important. I do talks on the dangers of social media, and it's a very, very scary thing, and parents have to really be looking out for these things. So I've had this author on before for another topic, but I'm excited to welcome to the program Brian Bandell, author of Famous After Death. Brian, thanks for calling. How are you?
Oh, I'm great. I wish it was a little bit more sunny in Miami at the moment, but at least when it's not blazing sun, it's not too hot. So we're having a lot of fun at the book fair now. Exactly,
Brian, and especially as a senior reporter at South Florida Business Journal, you really it's great to see a platform like this in South Florida, right? You love that this is here every year.
Absolutely. We have a lot of amazing people coming to town, and some of them I get to interview in the Business Journal about, a topic that might relate to business and technology. So that's always fun to meet the amazing resource of minds that come here.
Well, your topic is so important. And the title in general, Famous After Death. I talked to someone about cults and how people try to become famous after death, or terrible situations where somebody, does a mass shooting of 15 or 16 people just so that they can get their name and kill themselves, just so they can get their name plastered all over the world in the newspapers and things like that. So again, that title, but then the topic involving the internet and teens is another interesting thing as well, because kids, it's like giving them the keys to an automobile, but yet not knowing how to drive sometimes when these kids are on the internet, aren't they?
Yeah, and the problem is teenagers have been doing dumb things for a long time. When I was a teenager, I did a lot of dumb pranks, but the teenagers in my book, they have access to social media, and they figured out how to post anonymously. So they take it a step further in playing pranks. Someone dies, and then they start posting it online and doing more of it, the more attention they get. So this shows that whether kids are hurting people in the pranks or just bullying them, they have access to this medium and social media. They have access to, it's not just them and their friends. They can tell the whole world what they're doing, and they get instant information with hits and likes and shares, and sometimes that encourages them to do things they otherwise wouldn't do.
Absolutely. And it's not always the best thing, Brian, what they do. And Eric, that's the thing about today, that anyone can be a star, and kids see that they can post and be famous, Eric. That's a problem, isn't it?
It is. It's horrible. And, and I really think, parents, I hate to put it back on the parents, but parents need to do some better parenting and restrict and supervise and observe what a lot of their kids are doing online. And, it's frustrating because at least when I was growing up, the only kind of bullying you had was, the school bully, the guy in your class that was bigger than you that would pick on you unless you stand up for yourself. And these poor kids now can be bombarded from people all around the world, almost as in we see it like social with gangs or with riots and things. One person jumps on the bandwidth, and then these people get bullied from all over the world and nonstop. It's overwhelming for a lot of these kids, and it's upsetting.
And the thing about it is a lot of times they don't understand that this sticks with you. So right now, when you're a bully, people are going to see that as you get older. In 10 years, they're going to see you a bully online, and that'll reflect poorly on you. And that's what a lot of them don't understand. So whether they're getting in fights and posting them online or doing stupid stunts, that stuff now doesn't go away. Like before, it was just between you and your friends in high school. Now that's no longer. And I think people haven't really understood that. And that's why I'm trying to get at in this novel. Yes, it's entertainment, and yes, it's a fast-moving, murder kind of a story, but it's also sort of a warning to people to understand what are the ramifications of what you're doing, how can it go too far, and the people who see it online, when you share this, when you go and get it online, you're being part of the problem.
Yeah. What happens when that person goes, straightens up and goes to college and goes to get a job in 10 years or 20 years, and their employer Googles them and says, hey, we found 50 videos of you doing stupid stuff when you were 12. Yeah, we're not going to hire you today.
Yeah, and that's a concern. I mean, when they get older, and my other concern is that when people see this kind of stuff online, it's very easy to share it and laugh at it. It's very easy to laugh at something when you're not connected to it and you don't see it.
Exactly.
But by doing that, you're also encouraging them. So don't be the person that is liking this and sharing it and encouraging them to do it, because that's only fueling them to do more.
Exactly.
Right, Brian. Here's the problem. Here's the biggest problem is our society, what we're seeing, which is really, really, really scary in so many ways, Brian, is that social media is immediate gratitude, immediate reward, immediate sense of satisfaction in our brain when somebody likes something or somebody shares it or somebody follows you, that kids are just not able to handle it because they want to have more. They say, wow, look how many people viewed it now. I want some more people to view it. So I'm going to step the bar even higher. And kids, and when you talk about girls and dressing inappropriately, and then job interviews are going to see it, and that nothing disappears online ever. But yet, all they want is immediate gratification. And Brian, that's teenagers. They want immediate gratification.
And that's what's weird is, like, why is it so important to everyone? It seems kind of silly. Like, you really care. What at the end of the day do you get when people like something, when people share it? I mean, okay, it's nice. I mean, it's funny, as journalists, that's all we're talking about. You need to get your story on social media. You need to get people to like it and to share it and to retweet it and everything. But, what do people really get when they're getting photos here? They're not getting money. They're not getting real love, So when you're doing this, what are you really doing if you're taking risks with your life? If you're, people are risking their lives doing crazy stunts, to get likes at the same time, like, what's the point of that? What's the point of risking your life for what? To get 1 million hits? So what? Does that fix your broken leg?
Right. Exactly. And it doesn't fix your broken leg, but then it's, again, society. And think of TV shows that show kids doing crazy things. And just think of the one that's, what's that, 3-second video one? Oh, my gosh, it'll come to me in a second. I can't believe it must be I'm tired right now, where you could post a quick video, and then the kids in 7 seconds have to make something really funny.
Well, with Snapchat, yeah.
Not Snapchat, something else. Well, I'll think of it in a second, Eric. Do you remember that?
Was it Couch?
It'll come to me. It's
okay.
Green. It's one of the most popular right now. But it's definitely not Snapchat, where it's posting a video in 7 seconds. But then in 7 seconds, I got to make people really funny.
You're talking about Vines?
Vine, yes.
Yeah.
Vine.
Oh, okay.
Vine, Brian. And Vine, that you have 7 seconds to get a laugh or a joke, and it ends up being very crude. It becomes very rude. But yet, all that matters is the immediate. And Brian, you see it in our media system, as you said. Think about different television shows and the highlight and what is the biggest thing that's going to get the most controversy. Well, kids see the same thing and say, well, how can all my friends view it, like it, and do things like that? And that's got to be a reason. But also you like the fact that people have a mystery to figure out, right? And you have to write a book to entertain people, not just as an activist see, but just to say, you know what? Wow, what's going to happen to these kids?
Yeah, and it was weird because I started writing this book a number of years ago, and as I was writing, this was a very new trend. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to have 3 teenagers. They're going to start, playing pranks on people. Someone's going to die. They're going to post it. The police are going to try and catch them. And then all this is going on, like in Miami, you had Derek Medina. He killed his wife. He put her body on Facebook, and he said, "Hey, I killed my wife. I'm going to go to jail or prison for life for this, or death sentence for this." And he's on trial this week. And so you had all kinds of crazy things being posted online. You have Vester Flanagan who killed 2 journalists.
We're back to the Modern Book Fair, and we're talking to Brian Bandell. And Brian, the thing that I think that the immediate gratification, immediate reward, we talked about different things, but the mystery is what we were discussing, and the mystery of who done it. And that's what's got to interest you, right? People love your books because that's what you do. You're a mystery writer. You want people to try to figure out the story, right? And what these kids did and who did it and why, right?
Yeah, well, this story is interesting because in the beginning that the 3 kids are up to no good. But you also know that they're getting some help doing this. So they needed, there was a kind of a mystery character called Sir Black Market who helped them get a lot of the equipment they used to post anonymously, able to get a laptop with what they call a spoofed IP address. So they can't, so it's not in the registry. And so throughout this time, they're getting help from a character who's not identified, and there's a lot of mystery in that as the crimes go on, who is helping them and why. And then the other part is sort of a cat and mouse game. As the more they do this, the bolder they get. They don't think they can get caught, so instead of just going after random people, they start to go after people they want to get revenge on, and then they start to try and intimidate the police officers, so they won't investigate them anymore, so they won't get closer to them. And so then that's where it becomes a real kind of a cat and mouse game.
It definitely seems like it becomes a cat and mouse game, and you have to find out what's going to happen next, and where to go from here. But what's in the feedback? Have people been talking about what I've been talking about, the real whole factor of teenagers and how they abuse social media? The people have read the book.
Yeah, a lot of people who read the book are kind of amazed that it relates to life like this. They can kind of see like, wow, I could kind of feel like something like this could happen. It sounds kind of real, the premise. And then a lot of people just enjoy the fast pace. I wrote it at a way to to be quick, with a lot of kind of shorter chapters, a lot of action going on, and so to try and so some people kind of get through the book very quickly because of that, or don't start the book late at night because you'll have a hard time putting it down when it's time to go to bed. So that's the kind of style I went for with this one.
All right, Brian, best place to find information on you, purchase your book, and learn more about you. Where can we go?
Well, you can find Famous After Death at Silverleaf Books. That's my publisher, silverleafbooks.com, and that also put out my first book, Mute. You could also look for me on Amazon. If you could search Brian Bandell on Amazon. If you're in the Miami area, you could find me at Books and Books. I'm there. I'm obviously at the book fair now. And if you want to see what I'm doing on Twitter, it's at Brian Bandell.
Yep, already followed you. I already tweeted you out. We're on it. So good talking to you. Best of luck. And it's definitely a topic that we can add a little bit more of a conversation with, Brian. So I might reach out to you, especially with all the social media coming out now. It's just something where we have to tell parents, you got to monitor this. You got to make sure that you know where your kids are doing. And then also have conversations about kids like in your story that really went too out of control and could have cost them a lot of things for sure. So thanks again for calling. Absolutely.
Don't let yourself become famous for the wrong reason.
Exactly. That's for sure. All right, take care.
All right, bye.
All right, you're listening to Author's Corner, powered by Life Improvement Radio, live from the Miami Book Fair on the Dual Education Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
Thank you for listening to Life Improvement Radio. The views expressed by show hosts or their guests are their own and shall not be construed in any way as advice from Life Improvement Radio. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our website. Personal perspectives expressed by the producers, writers, or editors will always be presented as such. Any rebroadcast or retransmission without the expressed written consent of Life Improvement Radio is strictly prohibited. Thanks for listening.